You want to talk about trends? Why don't we head to the Central Time Zone, where the number 23 USC Trojans are facing off against the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Lincoln, Nebraska. 7:30 p.m. kickoff on NBC. Nebraska currently 6.5-point home dogs. And we talk about Central and Eastern Time Zone. We all know that Lincoln Riley, while he's been at USC and USC really in general for the past decade, has seemed to struggle at Central Eastern Time Zones. Mainly, they played a lot of those games against Notre Dame before they got into the Big Ten. Now they play 3 or 4, maybe 5 of those a year. And so they lost to Notre Dame a couple weeks ago. That was their last game out, lost by 10. Did not cover the spread. And they did not cover the spread earlier this year against Purdue. Again, and so I can't
And they
remember off
lost
the top
and
of
they
my head.
lost straight up to Illinois.
They lost to Illinois straight up. I think they were favored by 6.5 or so in that game.
Yep.
So
Yep.
um, USC, they do. I mean, we talked about their defense a lot and how it was awful last year or 2 years ago, and it seemed to get a little better. Now it's just back to being bad. They do everything poorly on defense. But I don't know how. I'm not sure how Nebraska, if they know how to exploit it, because their offense is really struggling.
Yep.
Dylan Raiola has definitely taken a step forward, but for some reason their offense as a whole can't run the ball. They just have not. I don't know if they can be able to exploit the USC defense like an Illinois team could with a senior quarterback like Luke Altmaier. On the other side of the ball, I think UCLA, or gosh, I am losing it today. I think USC really has a chance to establish the run against that Nebraska run D.
Yeah, I mean USC had a couple key injuries at tailback that are just unfortunate. I'm not sure what the injury situation there is at this very moment, but I do know that the USC passing game and that wide receiver core led by Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane and that crew are just borderline. I mean, you don't stop them. You're not going to stop Mekhi Lemon. You're not going to stop him. He's going to get his. You just got to hope that they're just not major explosive plays that kill you in the game. Uh, on Nebraska's offense, their offensive woes are due because their offensive line is trash. Is the reason why they can't run the football, and the reason why their offense in general is just not very good. Uh, I just don't know. Like at one point this year, USC was amongst the best in the country in sacks and getting tackles for a loss. They were feast or famine, is what they were. So, like USC has a couple of guys on that defensive front that could be problematic, younger guys that might be a problem for Nebraska in this game. But I'm kind of with you on the part of like Illinois has Luke Altmaier and had a couple of receivers and whatnot that they could use to exploit that USC defense. They could carve them up. I don't know. Like Dylan Raiola has the ability to be able to do it. Holgerson is a good enough offensive coordinator to dial it up. They've got a couple of really solid receivers to be able to exploit that USC defense. I just like Notre Dame showed us as well. You got to be able to run the football against this USC defense. Got to be able to run the ball. I just don't know that Nebraska is good enough along the front, man, to do it. I think the home atmosphere and the crowd and Nebraska overall, obviously, I think it's going to be a really good, like closely contested game. It's just, I can't at the moment. I would love, because of all those trends that you talked about, love to try to back Matt Rhule at night as an underdog at 6.5 at home. I just hadn't got there yet.
How big of a game do you think this is for each of these coaches? Like for different reasons, obviously.
I think no matter what, unless he leaves on his own, I think no matter what, Lincoln Riley's fine after this year because of the talks of like that fully guaranteed contract to his. And like, I do think that they've got some like momentum in the recruiting and all that stuff that they're going to be bringing in next year. Uh, but
Like,
yeah,
is the USC fan base, raucous enough to like get some stuff stirred up like they did, obviously, like LSU did with Brian Kelly?
I honestly, I don't have my finger on the USC,
Yeah,
like, on their pulse as well
yeah.
as I do some of those SEC teams. But yeah, I mean, I could see them like this being like kind of Like the way that they got beat by Notre Dame, they lost, like you said, to Illinois, like they did. Them beating Michigan was a big deal for Lincoln Riley, no doubt. And did they have a bye week last week?
They did. I
USC?
think Nebraska. I can't remember if Nebraska played last week or
They
not.
did. Nebraska played Northwestern last week.
Okay, yeah.
I think USC beat Michigan. They had a bye week, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Well,
Yes. And
they lost to Notre Dame, they had a bye week.
okay. So anyway, I don't know. I looked at the schedule because they lost to
Well,
Notre
I
Dame
mean,
and then
you talked about Lincoln Riley. I mean, we know he's not going to LSU or Florida because he's not gonna go coach in the SEC.
probably not. Probably not. Uh, yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere at this
Yeah.
moment. But that would be the only way I could see him going anywhere. Period. Do you think Nebraska's good enough defensively to be able to slow down this USC passing game, like which is like the number one total offense in the country right now in USC?
I mean, I'm struggling to think of, like, a good passing offense that Nebraska's faced this year. Um, Obviously, they lost to Michigan, but Michigan ran it all over them. That's what Michigan does. They generate like Vanderbilt. They generate explosive runs, and they had multiple in that game with Justice Haynes and Ward
Cincinnati's
Marshall.
the best passing offense that they faced this year, bro. And they're not anything to write home about from a passing standpoint.
I mean, and they for sure weren't. Maybe if they played Cincinnati, now in November, then it'd be a different story. But obviously, that was the first game for a lot of those guys in Cincinnati playing together.
Yeah.
Who was Nebraska's other loss?
It was to Minnesota. They got their cheeks clapped in Minnesota, like spanked
Yeah,
in Minnesota. So you're
yeah, and
right,
that
man.
just
They haven't faced a dude. I haven't looked at. I'd be willing to bet they haven't faced a passing offense that's ranked in the top 50. And USC
probably
is like
not.
the number. USC is one of the top offenses period in college football by the numbers.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's going to be tough for me to back Nebraska in this spot. I'm not laying the 6.5 with USC by any means because of those trends, like you said. I mean, Lincoln Riley hasn't shown us that he can go in these central and eastern time zones from USC and go win games, cover spreads, anything like that. So I'm not backing them either. It's a no play for me. If I had to play the game, I would say right now, if I had to play it, I would say that USC wins and Nebraska covers at this moment.
yeah. If I had to play it, I'd go with the home dog at night
Same.
with the crowd, and just kind of play on the college football feels there. All right, that's it for us. Week 10 is upon us. It's going to be a fun week. We got week 11 already on deck. We're already thinking about a lot of those games, catching a lot of early lines. We'll be back on Sunday night, Monday morning for a little guest spread, give you some early lines. We'll give our reaction to whatever happens this Saturday, November 1st, and what happens on Halloween night with Rice taking on Memphis. So we'll be back on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. For Lance Barton, I'm Tyler Noe. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.